back to Everything Anime Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Shinry. Here at the Everything Anime Podcast, talking from anime, manga, video games, TV shows, and everything on the topic I'm talking about. Today's video is on Dr. Stone, chapters 176 to 180. I'm not sure what I'm going to call it yet, but the biggest reveal ever is in this chapter, so we'll probably call it, Back to the Beginning. I don't know, we'll get there. Either way, it is very exciting what is at the end of this chapter. If you know, enjoy the ride. If you don't know, welcome to the ride. So, when we last left off, we created motorcycles to escape Stanley Snyder, who caught up with us. And we created 6 of them, 1 big motorcycle and 5 baby motorcycles. Not sure why that was specifically, but that's what we did. So everyone's paired up on a motorcycle, and we flee out as Stanley Snyder's clutches are once again about to grasp us, but he misses us just by a teensy bit. We're always just 1 step ahead of Stanley. Just 1 step. Like, he's right behind us. He's on our heels. We're like 1 step ahead of him. Because they were not expecting us to use a land vehicle, that's for sure. They were not expecting us to escape by motorcycle. They thought they had us. They thought we'd be on foot because they've been chasing us by boat. Stanley Snyder and the others, though, are just like, fine, we'll shoot them down. We just won't let them get away. Like, obviously, they're on motorcycles, but we got guns. So all they do is just take aim, we'll shoot them down, we'll kill them. Like, you can't escape like that. But we did have a backup plan, though. We're using Zeno as a hostage, which, of course, hilariously, Hyoga is being the one chosen to hold him. They're like, oh, yeah, you can shoot at us, but you might be shooting randomly. You have to shoot through all this dirt and dust cloud we're creating, but you might hit your friend Zeno, and look at Hyoga is the one holding him. But what's weird is, Zeno isn't even putting up a fight. He's not even protesting. He's just like, yeah, this is happening. I thought that was kind of weird. I thought it was very suspicious. Thankfully, Carlos used to be a pro driver, which we learned in the New America City arc. And he provides us cover with the smoke screen of dirt, which is what I just had alluded to. But yeah, it's like you are risking hitting Zeno if you shoot randomly at us. Because obviously, like, you need that cover. If they could just see us without a dirt cloud, obviously they would know, like, hey, just shoot Zeno. Because, Stanley Snyder has military experience. He would know, like, I just got to line my shot up. I'll hit Zeno. I'll hit Senku and avoid Zeno. Despite this, though, Kawaku uses her ultimate eyes to sense that something is coming. Like, Kawaku's like, that does kind of give us cover, but something is still coming after us. And I automatically knew this to be Stanley Snyder. Like, I knew Stanley Snyder had somebody to catch up with him. This man is determined to get his best friend back. Like, and Dr. Brody didn't want us to that. He's like, Stanley Snyder's going to hunt you down to the earth. He'll follow you to hell and back to get his best friend. One of his shots narrowly misses our Kingdom of Science in this really cool panel. I love how the action is drawn. Again, I'm going to make sure I show that off. I really love how Dr. Stone is drawn. It looks amazing. I did watch the New America City arc and finish it and caught up to where they escape. It did a lot of justice, but I do think the manga was a little bit better, but it did a lot of justice. But yeah, so this goes back to a conversation with my brother that anime can't, I was just talking about this, like anime can't really convey what manga can, but I think the New America City arc anime did it justice. However, 2 of the shots do hit our allies, Hyoga and Tsukasa, the strong arms of our team. And I was like, oh shit. If they take out Hyoga and Tsukasa, it makes sense because they obviously can overpower Stanley because they were on the ship when Stanley took over the Perseus. It was Mozu and Kira and Matsukaze, which they are strong, but they're not Hyoga and Tsukasa strong. But I was like, this is exactly what we're hoping that wouldn't happen. Like, they are our strongest 2 weapons. Meanwhile, Zeno is giving Stanley Snyder Morse code with his eyes. That's why Stanley Snyder was so calm. He's like, hey, look at my eyes. I'm telling you where we're going. And this is similarly how Gen easily once deciphered Senku's message using the phone back and forth. We were like escaping from Tsukasa, like Senku kept hanging up the phone and leaving clicks. And Gen was able to relay that message back to the others. And things just go bad from worse. As yes, even though we have motorcycles, they still have planes. And I honestly forgot about that. There is no way our motorcycle could lose a plane over this open desert because there's nowhere to hide. I was like, this is bad. Like, they have their planes. The planes are still on the ship. If those planes get into the air, they're going to find us. They're going to shoot us down. Like, once again, we're sitting ducks. We evaded them again, but Stanley Snyder, even when we're 1 step ahead of him, he gets 2 steps back. Or 2 steps ahead of us. But Senku seems to have a plan in place as when I turned the plan on, I was seeing him smiling in the face of danger. What Senku is known to do, but I was like, Senku, how are you gonna get out of this? Like somehow I was like, he must have damaged the plane somehow. He must have like done something to those planes that we didn't see. And how did they do that? That's when we hear that the way I used to hear that cars would be undrivable, oh yeah, they poured sugar directly into the fuel tank. I thought it was very clever and true because yes, you can disable a car by pouring sugar or putting a full-size Snicker bar into somebody's gas tank and the car will not work. Do not do that. I am not enforcing that. Do not do that. Again, I repeat. But that is something that was clever and that I already knew about planes or engines anyway. That sugar can like fuck up a car's engine and make it undrivable. So that's something I felt happy about, like being like not ahead of the stone, but like just like, oh, I'm caught up. I understand this. And with that, their plane goes down, and thankfully he didn't die because the Kingdom of Science doesn't want to spill blood. So yeah, Stanley Taylor did get his plane into the air, but they put sugar in the tank, so it started crashing down. But he didn't die, and that's our thing. We don't want to kill anybody. So yeah, we did take your plane down, but we kind of knew you would survive. So once again, we outsmarted Stanley Sider. So once again, we're one step ahead of Stanley Sider. Stanley Sider got 2 steps ahead of us, but we were 3 steps ahead of Stanley Sider. So fucking love it. I love the back and forth. It literally is chess every time. Every time a Dr. Stone is always chess. We then check in on the enemy's Kingdom of Science, who is getting help from Dr. Brody. Their version of Kaseki, which again, like he's like their muscle engineer builder. He tells them how to restore their planes, and hopefully it takes a lot of time to give us an advantage. So, like Brody's like, okay, they didn't put sugar in your tank, but we can get them suckers back up and flying. Just listen to me. And meanwhile, Senku is like, okay, we're gonna take part of the Medusa weapon. We're going to take apart the Medusa weapon and finally figure out how this works. Finally, after 177 chapters, we are close to some answers. I was like, okay, this is dope. We are finally going to figure out like what this Medusa weapon is, how it works. If it's not magic and you're saying it's science related, which I still don't know how. It still blows my mind that it's not magic. I'm like, okay, I can't wait to figure out how this works. Now, apparently, if you're wondering like me why Stanley Sider didn't shoot the Medusa weapon, now, oh yeah, if you're like me, if you're wondering like how did they get the Medusa weapon when Stanley Sider shot it to the ocean, don't worry, our author is all about consistency. Kawaku swam down and retrieved it after Stanley Sider shot it to the ocean. We didn't see her do that. It was off panel at that point, but yes, Kawaku retrieved it because I was like, how did he get the Medusa weapon when Stanley Sider shot it to the sea when they were sailing away to escape him? The next part of our mission is to crack open the Medusa and see if there's something inside that can tell us how it'll work. And if we're capable of, and we know that they're capable of being destroyed thanks to Matsukaze's flashback, but completely breaking it is not going to tell us how it works. So we knew from Matsukaze's flashback with Genro's ancestor, like these Medusa weapons can be destroyed, stomped on, broken, whatever. But we didn't know how it works. So if you destroy something completely, you're not going to see like the intricacies of how it works. We need someone who can delicately get in there and take apart machinery just like somebody that does watches. Because, you know, watches are small. You have to, like, really be delicate when making and building a watch. But thankfully, Ryusei, the man who desires everything, knows the best watchmaker in the world. This is where we're going to get introduced to a new character who I actually have come to love over these short chapters. But the location of the watchmakers are on the other side of the world, back near Corn City. And we need to relay that information to the others on a map stat. Like, we need somebody back in New America City to find this watchmaker and then bring him back to life. But since we don't have a modern day cell phone and cell phones can't, you know, send information that way, we're going to use a fax machine. We're going to send a fax using Morse code, which I thought was pretty cool. Because we did have a cell phone, but it's not that kind of cell phone where, like, you know, you can call somebody. It was that cell phone, like, they had, like, a tower and, like, a wire phone. Like, it wasn't, like, a cell phone. And we didn't have time to build that again anyway. But with this, they revive a new character named Greenhorn, who, it's pretty cool. I like his design. The personality traits we get from him is that he doesn't know how to talk to women, and he's a jerk to men. So he's nice to ladies, but he's kind of shy. But to men, he's like, back the fuck up, get away from me. Oh yeah, whatever you say, lady. Back off, fucker. You know, I love that. I thought it was pretty funny. A great addition to this whole anime and / manga. But as a skilled man watch craftsman, he can see the most intricate details in the Medusa weapon that even Brody or Kaseki couldn't even see. Like because he's a watchmaker, he can see like all the details inside of the Medusa weapon itself. And one of the first things to learn that is in the center of the Medusa weapon is a diamond. So that's like a big revelation. Like a diamond is an essential piece to the Medusa weapon, how it works. And though our Medusa weapon is out of juice, because it's the one we used to revive Tsukasa, it was like the last ounce of juice I had in Tsukasa, there still might be a spark left in this old thing, which is crazy. I was like, oh shit, he's going to either petrify himself and unpetrify himself because they have the revival fluid to bring him back. But this is cool. I was like, okay, we're going to get to the bottom of this, how this Medusa weapon works. I was like, I'm excited. So, now majority of this chapter is figuring out about how to get across a giant mountain to the other side of the Amazon rainforest, because we'll be climbing a mountain and trying to figure out the best weight combination for our motorcycles. So back with Senku and the others, because Joel is working on a Medusa weapon, we got to a mountain and we're trying to get over this mountain, but because our bikes aren't going to make it up this, but also we still need our motorcycles. So they're like, okay, what do we do? How do we get our Medusa weapons to how do we get our motorcycles to the other side of this mountain? And so Senku creates a homemade scale. With this homemade scale, Senku determines everyone's weight. I wasn't sure how this would factor in, but it is brought up later, and it is important. And we better hurry we had to hurry to start climbing because Stanley Snyder and his planes are on our ass, like they're on our tail. They'll be back in the skies in no time. Again, Dr. Stone's always about to race against time and trying to build things fast, so I really love it. It stays action. There's a reason why Dr. Stone, even though it's not a battle manga, it's a shonen manga. Shonen is battle manga. It has battles, but like the reason why it's still so hype is because there's still a lot of action happening. But what we're making next not only sounds impossible, but there's also no way we can do it before Santa catches up to us. We're making a rope way. I was like, like the thing, like I don't know how to describe it, but you know what a rope way is if you've ever seen one or if you've ever heard of one. You know what it is when it comes to your mind. I was like, how are we going to build that to carry our motorcycles across and people across before Santa catches up to us? I was like, there's no way. Well, we are. And to start this, Kohaku leaps to the top of the mountain while Yukio is tasked with firing an arrow with a string attached to it to her shield. At first, I was even confused how this would be strong enough rope to carry everyone across, even our bikes. But Senku says that it's just a temporary rope that will be used to carry the real one. Because I was like, okay, if this flimsy rope is supposed to help us carry all these motorcycles and people across, I was like, that's going to break halfway through. They're going to fall into a ravine or something like that. But Senku's like, oh, no, that's just like a starting rope. That's just a temporary rope so we can get the real ropes going. So I was like, okay, that makes more sense. But in the next panel, we officially have acquired one, and that was pretty fast. But Dr. Stone, we do things fast. You just got to go with it. But now the problem is, how do we get our bikes across and people across in a quick and efficient manner? So we have the ropeway. It's done. And I'm going to show it off. But I'm like, how are we going to do this in a fast enough manner where Stanley and his planes can't catch up to us? But it is Kohaku who says now we have the worst problem of all. It's based off of weight. That would leave Sukiya and Zeno behind. Like, she's like, based off the weight scenario, Sukiya and Zeno have to be the last two to come across. And Sukiya cannot defend herself if Zeno tries to outsmart her, overtakes her, or Stanley Snyder shows up. So, So they come to this tale of an old man, a chicken, some corn, and a fox. I know, I didn't know where this was going either. But it's about an old man, a chicken, some corn, and a fox. And it's about Sukiya and Zeno, like how they're going to get them across. The man can't leave the fox behind with the chicken because the fox will eat the chicken. Makes sense. But the man also can't leave the chicken with the corn because the chicken will eat the corn. So the man needs all of these things to get across. But each of these things will eat each other except the corn. The corn can't eat nobody. But if it does, that's like man eating corn and run away from that shit. So how does he manage to escape with all three items? I had no idea where this was going. I had no idea what was happening. I mean, it sounds like the fox and the gingerbread man, but we know the fox tricked the gingerbread man onto his nose and ate the gingerbread man, so we know that ain't what's going to happen. But it's ultimately decided that Hyoga and Zeno will be paired together. Again, I don't know how that story explained any of that shit, but that's the conclusion, that Hyoga and Zeno are going to travel together. So there's also a tease that Hyoga might be up to his old ways and betray us. Maybe that's the whole Fox scenario. Like, Hyoga could turn on us right now with Zeno and, be convinced, hey, I hate them, you hate them, let's take them out. But already on Treasure Island, we saw Hyoga had a change of heart. He's already teamed Team Dr. Senku. So I mean Dr. Stone. So I had no belief that he would betray us at all. And he didn't. So I didn't think it would randomly happen here either. In the end, I was correct. Hogue is on our side, and with our newfound teamwork, we make it to the other side of the mountain and into the Amazon rainforest, which is very cool. I got something cooking. I'll be right back. But Stanley's tribal team has caught up to us. They're back in the air. They're in the plains, and they've caught up to us. But we've reached the Amazon rainforest, and because we have so much coverage from the trees hanging over us, Stanley Snyder no longer has a direct shot at us. So the Amazon rainforest has provided great cover. But now, because we're in the Amazon rainforest, it doesn't mean we're scot-free. There are still wild animals in here, and worst of all, microscopic predators such as bugs that will crawl up your toes or feet and kill us. The next invention that we're going to create is rubber boots. I really love this. I thought that was created because, yes, there are all kind of insects and various bugs that if they bite you, you can get very sick. And without antibiotics or proper medicine, you could die from that. So I like that. Again, Dr. Stone, it always keeps relatively in the real world because that's where it's kind of taking place. So I thought it was pretty cool. And we got a lot of the writer shows off how useful each invention is that he creates, like rubber boots to protect our feet from bugs that might crawl up our legs and feet, snakes, snake bites, anything like that, and other various predators that we can encounter that we're not going to see. Wild animals, we'll see them coming. That's what we got Sukasa, Hyoka for, Kohaku. I think Genro's there. So we have plenty of fighters that can handle the bigger predators that we can see, but the smaller predators, that's what we're trying to protect ourselves from. Second, Dr. Zeno has created some homemade bug repellent, which I found equally clever based off of the threat that we were facing, but Senku and Tsukasa claim that there's something worse out there. But I do like, doesn't mean like sometimes Zeno's on our team and other times Zeno's just like, you know what? If I'm out here and y'all are gonna risk my life, well, I'm creating bug repellent. You feel free to use it too, But the worst thing to worry about is an army of ants. And like the walkers in Shobu Samurai, they're strongest in a pack. They're weaker by themselves. If you saw a single ant, you could crush it with your finger, crush it with your toes. If you saw a swarm of ants or stepped on an ant pile, you guarantee one or three of them ants gonna bite your legs. Like, you can't stop all them ants in the ant pile. So we didn't make even faster pace to the Amazon by riding down the river like it's a water slide. So that was pretty cute and fun. That's definitely something I would do. Go down a river and ride it like a goddamn amusement park ride. And in the end, after 4 long months, we made it to ground zero. We find out what petrified all of humanity, all of Earth, in Dr. Stone. It was not one single giant Medusa weapon, which is what I thought. I had speculated that, but they also mentioned it in the the manga, so I should have known that wasn't going to happen. It is a pyramid of small stacked Medusa weapons stacked on top of each other, one after another. It is a pyramid of Medusa weapons. That is what petrified all of humanity. That is what the Y Man set down. That blew my fucking mind. That is the equivalent of Goldie Roger laughing at Laugh Tale. That is the equivalent of Naruto finding out his father was a Fourth Hokage, which I knew for the first episode. I had called that out the first episode. But still, it was crazy to see it. Or Naruto meeting his father in his mind, whatever. That was still epic. I was like, we still don't know why. That is why he's called the Y Man. We don't know why he did this. But, wow, that was cool. Now, I'm still a little bit further ahead, so I think I'm at chapter 195. But we're going to get there together, and then once I get to chapter 185, I'll be able to speculate with you guys. But at this point, I still don't know the why. I still don't know why the Y-Man did this, and we still don't know how the Medusa weapons work. So anyways, that's all for this video. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Anyways, I'll see you guys next one. Talk later. Bye. Hey guys, this video was sponsored by me, the author of the Shinry series, the Chronicles of Wayne, and Monsterverse. So I figured I'd do this outro a little bit different by showing you guys what you guys will be checking out. So, the Shinry series starts with Book 1, Shobu Samurai Project Aryoku. 10 years after the death of his parents, Shobu Samurai returns home seeking vengeance, but instead faces the choice to save his home from shadow creatures, blood beasts, and an organization once thought dead. Shinry's Shobu Samurai starts at $9.99. And if you love anime, manga, Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, Yu Yu Hakusho, Fairy Tail, Shaman King, Rave Master, Zatch Bell, anything like that, the Shinry series is definitely the series for you. You'll definitely want to check it out. The Sword of Light is probably the thickest one so far. And then these books are 2. This is Enter the Dread Zone Tournament. And the series original ending, Arado, the Legendary Conjuring Master. So, and I'll just show you guys some of the covers.
really proud of all of these. But I hope you guys check it out. If you don't like that, I also have the current published books for the Chronicles of Wayne, Love Be Damned, Cotton Candy, Full Moons, Fabled Lovers, A Cursed Virgin's Bite. If You Go Where Monsters Dance, Red will Rain Over Your House. Love Be Damned. Now, the Chronicles of Wayne is about a geeky guy, or a nerdy guy in high school. His senior year, he has a crush on the hottest guy in school, because of course he does. He's only got one best friend, and her name is Barb. Well, the hottest guy in school turns out to be a werewolf. And to make the story more interesting, he bites Wayne and turns Wayne into the first ever wolfman in the last 10 years. And because of that, it was also a sacred law that wolfmen should never be created. I don't want to get into too much of the Chronicles of Wayne without spoiling it, but I can tell you it's very short. This one sells for $6.99, and Love Be Caged right after it. The ending of this trilogy, Love Be Liberated, comes out in October. So I'm going to definitely do a more full in-depth review of this one. But yeah, it's an LGBT fantasy fiction story about werewolves, vampires, white witches, a dark warlock, and, well, many, many more surprises to come. So if you guys like to read, I definitely recommend. These are all the books so far in the Shinry series, except for Shinry's Beginning. I do have that one, but it's just not here with me. But yeah, I appreciate a like, support, or just a review on Amazon. Either way, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great day.